This is John. John is a butcher and store manager at Riedman Tretter in St. Gallen. As part of his job, he is responsible for managing the inventory levels of different food items. One of those items is ground beef. Ground beef is delivered every 2 days because of its short expiration time. In order to find the right order quantity, John makes use of the Newsvendor model, which has been explained to him by a consultant. The Newsvendor model is a model used to determine the optimal order quantity for goods which can only be used in a single period and which have to be ordered in a one-time order before this period. But what happens if John doesn't order the right amount? If he orders too few kilograms of ground beef, he does not realize the full profit because he can't feed all his hungry customers. If he orders too many kilograms, the ground beef for which he has already paid for goes to waste. Because John is an environmentalist and at the same time wants to make a lot of money, he came up with an idea. He can use the overstock ground beef to make delicious burgers, which he sells during lunchtime. Even though he can't get the same price as if he had sold the ground beef purely, this minimizes his losses. According to the Newsvendor model, this is called the salvage value. In the next part of the video, you will be shown how John determines the optimal order quantity.
So to get started with Excel, let's look at our characteristics. Ordering decision once per period in 5 kilogram sessions. Now, of course, demand is uncertain, which is our problem. The good being ground beef, and our goal is to determine the optimum order quantity so that the butcher may get the maximum profit. So what's given to us are per unit costs and the sales price. Per unit cost here 11.5 and sales price what he gets for the ground beef is 24. Both CHF per kilogram. Now salvage value, what we can get with whatever ground beef is left over, is actually variable because he's selling burgers and we decided that he can only sell maximum 20 burgers per period. So we need to calculate it in this way because it is variable then. So 20 burgers times 0.6 because that's how much value of the burger is created by meat times 6.5 the cost of the burger. Subtract 50 Swiss francs, the price of paying that worker to sell the burgers, and go ahead and divide that by the gap to get it in per kilogram value. Copy that down. Probability here given to us by the butcher himself, which was his estimate. We need that for the discrete version of the Newsvendor model. And now our two cases. So either the order quantity is bigger than the actual demand or smaller. Because we have two possible situations here, we need to use the if function on Excel. So if our demand is bigger than or equal to our order quantity, this is going to be situation 1. So bigger than or equal to the order quantity, well then what happens? Well, we can take this number, it's going to be the same, so we can use demand or order quantity, it's going to give us the same answer, and multiply that by the sales price, and then subtract the same number multiplied by the per unit costs. And now the opposite situation, situation number 2, is where it's going to get a little more tricky. So we start out the same way, multiplying that margin by in this case we need to use the actual demand each time. Because our salvage value is variable, we need to use the VLOOKUP function and have our lookup value equal to the order quantity minus the actual demand. Our table array is going to be our salvage value table over here. And we're going to tell this function that what we're looking for is the salvage value, which is in the second column, by putting a 2 here. And then we need to multiply again that salvage value by, well, the difference, right? So, because it's in per kilogram on the table. So then we can go ahead and copy that out. And we can copy the same formula and do that everywhere, but all we need to do now is change, before you're on G15, now we need to change it to G16 because we're one level down. So we can keep doing that for all of them. Yeah. Basically just the same thing going through everything. So now we're able to calculate our average profit by multiplying in the probabilities. So each time we can put the profit for given demand and order quantity and multiply that by the probability that the actual demand is realized. So now all we have to do is copy that down, and we've got our average profit for all of our different cases here. And we can see that the clear winner is 30. So the order quantity of 30 kilos per period. So let's highlight that green. And that way we know that this is the quantity that's going to give the butcher the maximum profit.